Hi, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa. And today I'll be showing you how to track macros. It's Lunch with Lisa. Hi, I'm Lisa, and if you didn't know already, I lost 33 pounds in 2021 on the program Optavia. I went from this to this, and I couldn't have been more thrilled with my results. And how the focus was just on getting healthy versus counting calories. But I found as I transitioned off the program, I didn't know exactly how much I was eating, and I kind of binged here and there and started gaining some of the weight back. I found myself getting back on the program multiple times, yo-yo dieting all over the place and never really figuring out how much I really needed to eat. Little did I know, the Facebook group that I had just joined was going to be the answer to my problems. Fit Girl Club is the Facebook group, and you can find the link down below if you would like to join that community. It's full of a bunch of amazing women just trying to get healthy and fit. So I took it a step further and I went ahead and joined Coach Deezy's program called the Granite Bikini Blitz. It is a 10-week program that takes you through how to do everything in order to get the best body that you've ever dreamed of. Since then, I've been going strong for 2.5 months now, working out in the gym and tracking my macros. I've had a few people ask me to create a video explaining everything they learned about tracking macros, so here we go. Also, watch to the end because I'm going to share with you the most amazing tip to tracking your macros. This one tip was a huge game changer for me. First, you gotta know what macros are. What are they? Well, it's an abbreviated term for macronutrients. We need a large amount of these in order to function, whereas micronutrients, we only need a small amount. The 3 macronutrients that we require are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, each gram of carbohydrates and proteins are equivalent to 4 calories per gram, and each gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. Tracking macros is basically another way of saying that you're following a flexible diet. My coach didn't tell me what to eat. He just told me how much of each macronutrient I needed to eat. So it is basically counting calories, but you're focusing on the macronutrients by tracking the number of grams of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that you consume. Now, how do you know how many macros to eat? How much protein, how much carbs, how much fat? How do you know? How do you figure it out? Well, there's definitely a formula, and I'll take you through that towards the end of this video. But just to put it simply, you decide what your goals are. Then you figure out how many calories your body needs to function. You adjust for exercise. And then you break it down into how many grams of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that you're going to consume. Why do it? Why track macros? Bodybuilders do it to achieve low body fat or to build muscle. Some people do it where they play a sport or weight class is involved and they need to watch their weight. People who do CrossFit will do it for athletic performance. Some people use it to improve their nutritional intake, so you can train hard, recover well, and perform at your best. Some people just want to look good and have a good body composition and lose weight. So that's a really good reason to use it. But let me just stop you right there and let you know that tracking your macros is not necessary in order to eat healthy and feel good. If that's your goal, you can actually just improve on simple habits first before resorting to counting calories or macros. In order to track your macros, you have to weigh and track your food. So that involves getting a food scale and getting an app like MyFitnessPal or using a website like Calorie King and entering everything into a spreadsheet. And let me repeat, you don't have to do this if general health is your goal. However, tracking your macros can help you become more aware of how certain foods affect you, and it can be helpful to understand portion sizes and to create balanced meals. And you don't have to do this forever once you learn proper portion sizes. Here's how to make it sustainable. People will tell you certain things aren't a diet, and they are. I've heard so many programs say it's not a diet, but they are. They're diets. Everything you eat is your diet, but also when you restrict what you eat, that is considered a diet. And tracking your macros is a diet because you're going to be restricting how much you eat. But you're going to be very flexible about it since there's no food off the table. You learn how to shift the food you eat in your day to fit the foods you crave or that you want to include. And sometimes you decide that eating those foods just isn't worth it because you just aren't satiated that day if you eat something super calorie dense that doesn't fill you up, like peanut butter or a donut. But this diet can be done in an enjoyable and sustainable way. There are no good or bad foods, and nothing is off limits. You can still enjoy treats, untracked meals, you can go out to eat, you can even splurge on vacation and not even track a thing. I mean, let's face it, if you aren't a pro athlete trying to fit into a certain weight class, you can be super flexible with this. But at least getting a firm grasp on the amount of macros that you're eating will definitely help you make most of the time in the gym, and you won't feel like a hamster stuck in a wheel like you're in Groundhog's Day or something. Repeating the same cycle over and over again, showing up to the gym, working out, not seeing results. Because if you do go to the gym and you spend all that time investing in yourself, you want to see progress. And let's face it, 80 to 90% of that is what you eat. And being consistent is far more important than being perfect. So staying flexible and having some fun is essential to this lifestyle. Believe me, I know. I love having fun and staying super flexible. Oh yeah. But if you're new to eating well, here's what I recommend for you first. Develop those healthy habits. Start drinking more water, 64 ounces to 100 ounces a day. Get more sleep at night. Go to bed earlier so you can sleep longer. You really need around 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And hit the pavement. Go for a walk. Work your way up from 15 minutes to an hour. Try to do that every day. And then quit the things that hurt you, like nicotine and alcohol. So if you're new to macro tracking, just keep this in mind. It's still a calories in versus calorie out game. The amount of total calories you eat will determine your results. Like, don't consume spoonfuls of oil if you're low in your fat macros. Just add some more fruits and veggies to a meal, or have a whole grain snack, or maybe snack on some nuts to try to make up the calories. So focus on energy balance first, which means your calories. Once you've nailed that, you can start tracking your macros and making sure you're hitting all of those within 2 grams. And then after you do that, you can then start to focus on your micronutrients and your vitamins and your minerals. And then after you nail that, you can go into nutrient timing, like when to eat. And then if you need to add any supplements to make up for any micronutrient deficiencies. But always hitting your daily caloric needs trumps hitting your macros. And food quality matters. It really does. Focus on whole foods first. They are high in nutrients and they are going to fill you up. Try to think about what's in your food first before you think about what food you can fit in. Think, how is this food going to benefit me and my body? And sometimes it can be mentally beneficial to include treats in your diet, like ice cream or a candy bar. That's totally normal and healthy. But just focus on those high nutrient dense foods first. Also, just because something is low in fat or low in carbs doesn't mean it's better for you. Eating quality foods means you're gonna sleep better, you're gonna have more energy, you're gonna support a healthy gut and hormones, and you're just gonna be healthier in the long term. So don't cheat your diet by filling up on processed foods first. Here's how I'm tracking my calories. So during my blitz, my coach handed us the amount of macros to track and told us to kind of up it and play around with it to get up to a maintenance level and figure out where we feel good at and maintain our weight. Now, I had been in a calorie deficit for probably a year and a half, kind of yo-yoing back and forth on Optavia, and I was starting to lose my hair and having skin problems. So that's when I found Mastering Diabetes and the medical medium and started adding a lot of fruit to my diet, which helped my rash go away. But during the 2 months on the Blitz, I was eating a lot more protein and I was being a little bit too flexible with my diet. I didn't lose as much as I wanted to, but I also struggled because I think my body didn't know what to do. It was trying to add muscle, it was hungry as heck, and I just didn't really feel all that great. So I learned that going into maintenance mode for a short period of time actually helps increase your metabolism and then helps you to lose weight even faster when you go into a deficit. So I decided for a month that I'm gonna eat at maintenance level. And I didn't know what that looked like yet, but I figured maybe it was around 2,000 calories and then just really focus on building my muscle at the gym. So I told you there was a formula to figure this out, and now I'm going to reveal it to you. It's so easy. So you wanna figure out what your total daily energy expenditure is, the TDEE. And that's basically going to be your weight times 11. Some people say 10, some people say 12, so I'm just going with 11. And for me at the time when I planned this, my weight was at 125 and I multiplied it by 11 to get 1375. That number is how many calories my body uses just doing nothing all day. So if I were to lay in bed all day, my body would burn 1,375 calories. So if I just ate that many calories, I would probably lose weight because I don't just lay around in bed all day, even though sometimes I want to. So we need to adjust the calories for movement. So if you don't exercise at all, just eat that many calories. If you do exercise, you want to include that in there. If you exercise light, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, multiply by 1.2. If you exercise more medium, maybe 3 to 5 times a week, multiply by 1.5. If you exercise every day, super hard, heavy exercise, multiply by 1.7. Since I lift weights about 1 to 2 hours, 5 times a week, I went conservative on this and chose 1.5. 1375 times 1.5 is 2062. And I wanted to be conservative and work with a round number because I'm weird like that. So I went ahead and lowered it to 2,000 calories. Super easy number to work with. So I want to figure out how much protein to eat first. So I've heard 2 things, and I'm not sure which one it is. So comment down below if you know for sure. I've heard it's 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight, or I've heard it's 1 gram of protein per 1 kilogram of body weight. But I've also heard it could be up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram. And so then it would probably be around the same amount that my coach recommended for my weight, which was 120 grams. And I trust my coach, so I'm just gonna go with that. So my protein stayed the same throughout the blitz at 120 grams, and it's going to stay the same now. But I want to figure out just how much of my 2,000 calorie diet is going to be the 120 grams of protein. So I'm going to take the 120 grams and I'm going to multiply it by 4 calories, and that's going to give me 480 calories. And 480 divided by 2,000 gives me 0.24, which is 24%. 24% of my 2,000 calories is going to be my protein. And it's easier for me to work with percentages to figure out the rest of this. So for my carbohydrate intake, I want to shoot for about 50 to 60% of my 2,000 calories to reserve for carbohydrates, because carbs are amazing for energy. So that leaves me about 16 to 26% left for fat. That comes out to be 250 to 300 grams of carbs and 35 to 57 grams of fat. Personally, I'd rather eat more carbs than fat. They're just more fun to eat because you get a little bit more of them. They're not so calorie dense. But I'm just gonna stick with 40 grams of fat, and then that'll leave me about 290 grams of carbs. So I just wanna double check myself just to make sure this all adds up. So 120 grams of protein plus 290 grams of carbs equals 410 times 4 calories. That'll equal 1,640 calories. Then we have our 40 grams of fat times 9 calories. That equals 360 calories. And 1640 plus 360 equals 2,000. So I got it right. Now that's me in a maintenance. If I want to be in a deficit, I want to take down my calories and then work it out from there, keeping my protein about the same, just fluctuating on my carbs and my fat. And that's what you can do if you want to raise your calories or lower your calories. Just play around with your carbs and your fat. And then it becomes fun and easy to either gain weight or lose weight or maintain your weight. Because just make it like a game and compete with yourself. Okay, so now I want to show you how this looks in real time. Like, how do you actually track your food? Okay, so I'm going to start with something super simple like oatmeal. So I want to show you why we use a food scale versus just a measuring cup. So I'm going to get a bowl, I'm going to turn my food scale on, and I'm going to zero it out. Now in the past, I would totally just get a scoop and say, that's half a cup of oatmeal, that's 1 serving. But since learning how to track my macros and weigh my food, my eyes are opened. This half a cup of oatmeal is way more than an actual serving. So let's just figure out how much more. According to the nutrition facts, half a cup should equal 40 grams. And in that 40 grams, we should have 150 calories. Whoa, that is not 40 grams. That is 59 grams. That's almost 60 grams. That's 50% more than I thought I was eating. So how much does 40 grams actually look inside of half of a cup? Okay, now I have weighed out 40 grams, stuck it back inside of this cup, and look at the difference. That is not even full. So measuring out your oatmeal physically is going to mean that you're eating 50% more than you thought you were. That's 75 more calories than I thought I was eating. That's gonna add up. If everything that I eat is a little bit off like that, I'm not gonna be tracking my macros accurately. So definitely weigh your ingredients. Now let's try it with something like peanut butter. Peanut butter is super calorie dense. So any kind of deviation from the exact amount is going to add a lot more calories. So 1 serving of peanut butter is going to be 2 tablespoons, which I have here, 32 grams, and that's 180 calories per serving. So let's say I took 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons, and you're gonna err on the side of I'm hungry and I wanna eat more. So you're not gonna care if you're over a little bit on your tablespoons, right? Well, that's not 32 grams, that's 38 grams. 38 grams. That's gonna be a lot more calories than you want to have. Definitely, I can then say, all right, since I weighed this out, I can scrape off some of that and see. So that's about 30 grams. I could add a little bit more back. Man, my tester and I did this perfectly. 33 grams. That was just a tiny bit. Anyways, if you're in 1 or 2 grams, you'll probably be all right. Okay, so there is actually 1 serving of peanut butter. Have you been weighing your peanut butter? Comment down below if you don't weigh your peanut butter and you just eat it by the spoonful. Do you actually realize how many calories you're eating? Oh my goodness. And this is one of my favorite peanut butters, but I don't have to buy it anymore because I can make my own. Huh. Same thing with like honey and stuff like that. You can just put your bowl down and just sprinkle it on top. It makes measuring so much easier when you just weigh it out. So make sure you're reading your labels. When you're putting this in the app, that you're making sure that all the information is the same on the app as it is on the label. Trust the label before you trust the app. All right, what about like bread or tortilla? Right? They usually measure them by the slice. They say 1 slice is 1 serving. Right here in this bag, 1 tortilla is 1 serving and it's 45 calories. And they give you how much it weighs, 28 grams. But does it weigh 28 grams? So let's find out how much calories is actually in this tortilla. Well, it's not 28 grams, it's 31 grams. So you've got to take that in. So it's going to be over 45 calories. So just eating this one, I think I'm eating 45 calories, but I'm really eating more. And if you put that into the app as grams, measure this out, you're going to get a more accurate number. Then you're going to be able to track your macros more accurately. It's really all kind of an estimation anyways, but the closer you get to being true to the number, the easier it is to be able to track your macros and meet your goals. So what about foods that don't have a label to read, like fruits and veggies? Let's take a look at MyFitnessPal real quick. MyFitnessPal is such a great app, but it has one downfall. So many people have entered all their own food into this that you don't really know what to trust. So I like to use Calorie King as kind of something to compare it with. There is a Calorie King app, or you can just use the website. So if I type in apple, I can see here that 1 medium apple is going to be 6.3 ounces and 93 calories. But I'm going to change that to grams because I want to really measure this out accurately. So make sure your scale is zeroed out. We're going to measure this apple here is 124 grams. So I'm going to stick that into this, and that comes out to be 64 calories, not 94. So I don't know if this is a medium, small, or large apple. What they say, like, they might have some measurements, but it doesn't really compute for me. But then I have this ginormous apple. It's seen better days, but it's 283 grams. And that's 147 calories. So 64 versus 147. That's going to be a huge difference. So you just can't rely on just apple. So I want to make sure that that's what MyFitnessPal says too. So if I go into MyFitnessPal, 1 medium apple for them is 104 calories, not 90 something. So I'm going to switch to grams again. We have 123 grams is 64 calories. That's what Calorie King said. So this one should be right as well. 147, yes. That checks out. And that's a good way to kind of cross-reference MyFitnessPal with something else so you make sure that you're getting the correct count, especially on things that don't have a label, like apples, fruits, veggies, beans at the store that you buy in bulk, that kind of thing. Now with meat, you want to be sure that you know when you're measuring it, if you're measuring it raw or if you're measuring it cooked, because you can type that in to MyFitnessPal. If I'm going to eat chicken and I'm measuring it raw, I can just type chicken raw and it'll give me the breast raw, like whatever part of the bird you're eating and you're measuring raw. Now, if you want to measure it after you've cooked it, type in the word cooked and it'll give you the correct way to measure it for cooked. I like to measure all my meat after it's cooked, so just do the same thing over and over again and you should be able to work it into your habits a lot easier that way. Now, what you'll figure out as you start tracking your macros is not everything is purely one macro or the other. A lot of the foods will have all the macros or one or two macros. I found it so interesting that apples have fat and protein in them as well. So it's a good idea to kind of keep this in mind as you're planning your meals out. And then when you're stuck at the end of the day, and you need to hit some macros or add some calories, you can see which foods have these combinations in them. There's a really cool cheat sheet that I'll link down below that I like to use when I'm thinking about planning my meals or what to eat to fulfill certain macros. And this is also why tracking your food in an app like MyFitnessPal is so helpful. All right, are you ready? Here's my super mega awesome tip for you that changed my life around tracking my food. Drum roll, please. Plan ahead. Seems so simple, yet it was so foreign to me to think about typing in all the food I was going to eat for tomorrow or the next day or the whole week. Before I go to bed or right when I wake up, I do this. I plan all my meals and I guess how much I need to eat in order to hit all my macros. And then I do all the tweaking and arranging of all the foods way ahead of time, not just as I'm going through my day, having to spend tons of time in the app, looking things up, all that stuff. No, I do that all ahead of time. This allows me to stay out of the app more, actually. So I'm just spending a little bit of extra time at night or in the morning in the app, planning the whole day. And then the rest of the day, I'm actually just making sure the food matches what I've put down inside the app. Not only does it help me track my macros so quickly and easily, it actually helps me to remember to measure things before I shove them in my face. You could even plan one perfect macro day and just repeat it. If you don't really care about variety, you could eat like that every day if you wanted to. Or maybe you could just plan out like 7 days and then repeat those each week and cycle them through. And bonus points if you actually make the meals ahead of time for the whole week. So all you have to do is grab and go. This is especially helpful if you don't work from home. So if you're away from home most of the day, you have all your meals with you and you don't have to worry about tracking everything. It's already been done and you already know how much you're gonna eat. You just have to eat it. And you don't have to scramble at work thinking, what restaurant should I order from today that helps me with my macros? Or what could I eat from the vending machine? No, you have all your food there with you. You can say no thanks to anyone asking you to go to lunch with them. Or if you do go to lunch with somebody, just eat your lunch ahead of time and then you don't have to eat at the restaurant. Or you could just eat like half of your meal and then eat a little bit of something that you want at the restaurant. Such great ideas. I'm so full of them. So that's it. That is it. That is so much information in one video. So if you have any questions, leave them down below and I can address them either directly to you, or if they're really good, I might be able to make another video about it. And don't forget that macro cheat sheet is down below. I'll also leave a link to my food scale that I use and to MyFitnessPal. Definitely use MyFitnessPal or something like it to track your macros. I'm in that app every day. You can totally find me too, Lunch with Lisa. Follow along as I track my meals. And I also have a lot of recipes and meals in MyFitnessPal that you could also use. Thanks so much for watching. And if you like what you see and you want to help support me, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can buy from my Amazon store, link is down below, or you could buy me a coffee at coffee.com/lunchwithlisa, or you could become a patron and watch my videos a week ahead of time, like all these lovely people. Patreon.com/lunchwithlisa. And it's always free to like, comment, and subscribe. and I'll see you in my next video. It's Lunch with Lisa. Some people use it to improve their nutritional intake, not uptake. Like, don't consume oils of spoonfuls. Come on, Lisa.